It's 7 p.m. Watch live on YouTube and make sure to subscribe. Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is presented by Raymond Felton State Farm.
With the auto insurance market constantly changing, call a professional that will put your needs first. Ray Felton State Farm is a team of licensed professionals that will assess your risk, explain coverage in detail, and assure you understand what would happen if you ever found yourself in a claim situation. You can visit rayfelton.com or call their office at 234-284-2996 for a free quote on your home, auto, renters, and life insurance needs.
Whether you're hosting a corporate event, wedding, conference, concert, or any other special gathering, our comprehensive range of services will exceed your expectations and elevate your event to new heights. RRT Productions. We shoot, we edit, you win. Visit our website at www.rrt-productions.com.
Hand-and-built leather goods. Leather goods built for life. Made by hand in the USA, all goods are made with veg-tanned leather. Some of the best quality around and made by a U.S. veteran. Check out their website, www.handbuiltleather.com. GV Art and Design is a creative boutique specializing in original artwork, design, and apparel. With 4 locations in Lakewood, Avon, Willoughby, and Kent, you can visit their store and check out their collections including Cleveland sports teams, Ohio colleges, and much more. Use the code ONTAP10 for 10% off your order. GV Art and Design, original and one of a kind. Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is on every Monday night at 7:30 p.m. Watch live on YouTube and make sure to subscribe. Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is presented by Raymond Felton State Farm.
Have you compared insurance rates lately? Are you satisfied with your current insurance provider?
And welcome everyone. State Farm Insurance. My name is Ed Dick, alongside Rob Troutman, Josh Jeffy, Noah Jacobson, and my cohort, my compadre, my colleague, of course, is Sean Duffy. And you are watching this live on our YouTube channel at Sports on Tap. Make sure you follow us on Twitter /X at SOT Podcast. Make sure you check us out also on Facebook at Sports on Tap. We're also on Threads at SOT_podcast. And of course, our website is sportsontappodcast.com to get all the information about the schedules, standings, scores. All of our articles go up there. All of our scores are up there, and sorry, my son's playing Wii golf while at the moment, and he's a little frustrated that he can't get this to end.
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm struggling. Yeah, we'll just turn the game off and you can turn your tablet on. How about
That's
we do that?
all right.
The future host of the show, Little Eddie.
That's right. If he will future host this. He can guest host for me at any point in time and be a lot more coherent than whatever I do. So regardless, we got a great show for you tonight. We are going to be joined, in addition to going through our conferences, which are the Great Lakes Conference, the Greater Cleveland Conference, the Suburban League, and the Southwestern Conference. We are going to be joined by a couple of guests. We're going to be joined by Avon quarterback Nolan and Twinsburg running back Aiden Stuczynski. Make sure our polls are still open for our Player of the Week contest, our Ray Felton State Farm Insurance Player of the Week contest. Make sure you follow us at SOT Podcast on X to to get us to cast your votes. It's really, we have a lot of participation, and the vote is really, really close. So if you want to push your favorite student athlete over the top, make sure you follow us at SOT Podcast on Twitter/X. Make your votes and make your votes count. And the winner will get a $20 gift card to Chick-fil-A, and of course a little prize pack from Ray Felton State Farm Insurance himself. All right. We are just about done with non-conference play, so we're going to go through our recaps of our respective conferences, and we will start first with the Suburban League, and I believe it will be Sean, or it's going to be Josh. It's going to be Josh, as he always starts us off, getting us going here. Josh, take it away.
All right, thanks, Ed, and what's going on, guys? Glad to be with you for our Week 3 recap. Yes, my second week now in Suburban League National Conference, getting comfortable with the conference, getting comfortable with the National Conference of the Suburban League. So looking forward to it, getting our start. We're going to start with the matchup between the Brecksville Bees. All right. So we're still working on our...
Yes, I apologize. That's my fault. Normally I'm better on that, but
I hit it a little early for you. I'm sorry, but
I was not expecting you to go that early, Josh.
My bad. But we're going to go with the matchup between the Brecksville Bees and Union Town Lake. And this was a really tough offensive game for both teams. In fact, the Bees only led 7-0 at half. Lake did not get on the board until late in the third quarter. Cole Eichler had a 2-yard score there. 10 minutes into the with 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter, Lake scored again, making it 14-7. Brecksville did have a long drive that led to the game tying score with 4 minutes left in regulation. This game went into not one, but 2 overtimes in this one, and it was actually Lake's Kelton Dutton with the game-winning field goal to put Lake on top of the Bees, 17-14. Colin Siebert in this game was 23 of 28 with a touchdown, and Jacob Edervoigt, and I'm sorry if I say your name wrong, please forgive me. Correct us on Twitter at SOT Podcast if you so like. We would appreciate that. He led the Bees in rushing, 13 attempts, 62 yards. With the loss, Brecksville suffers their first defeat of the year. They dropped to 2-1. Uniontown Lake improves to 2-1. Nordonia, impressive once again, very impressive. 35-14 victory over Mayfield. Coach Fox told Cleveland.com after the game, one of the keys to their team's success this year has been their ability to create turnovers, and it's no different in this game. They had 3 in the first 7 minutes of this game, 2 interceptions and 1 fumble. One of those interceptions was by Israel Pettit. He also had an 84-yard kickoff return for a touchdown, as well as a receiving touchdown in this game. And running back Rocco DiLorenzo putting in another workmanlike effort, 15 rushes, 104 yards, and a touchdown. Nordonia improves to 3-0 on the year. Mayfield drops to 1-2. Nordonia having a very impressive start of the 2023 season. Look for them to continue this week. North Ridgeville and North Royalton. I'll talk about this more from the North Royalton side. Rob will talk it more about from the Ridgeville side, but Royalton started opening drive with a field goal. They were up 3-0 early. Cody Miller scored from 39 yards out. That actually had the Bears regain the lead 10-7. The game was tied at 17 when Austin DeShazo from North Ridgeville hit the game-winning kick as time expired, and North Ridgeville went on to a 20-17 victory. North Royalton drops to 1-2. North Ridgeville improves to 3-0. Medina with a big win, 40-23 over Wadsworth. Now, Wadsworth coming into this game tried to do things a little bit differently, and it kind of worked to an extent. Medina actually rushed the ball 34 times as a team, and that's actually one of the largest amounts of times they ran the ball since they've gone into this 5-wide system. Wadsworth was down 13-0 early, an opening drive touchdown and a Wadsworth fumble allowed Medina to go up early. Will Stack, though, did score first for the Grizzlies, a 38-yard run. They did have the 2-point conversion, so it was 13-8 after the first quarter. In the second quarter, Kyle Figueroa added a 3-yard touchdown run along with Jack Dinwiddie's 41-yard field goal and pulled within 9 points at the half, 26-17. In this game, though, Medina was just too much. Wadsworth did not have enough offensively to keep up with Medina and their high-powered offense, and Noah will go over the Medina stats as he goes through the GCC recap. But this was just, Wadsworth could not do enough. They're still, a really good team, one of the top teams in the Suburban League. It's just Medina had too much firepower. In the game, Will Stack did have 168 yards passing and a touchdown, along with 46 yards and a rushing touchdown. Kyle Figueroa had 66 yards rushing, as well as 33 yards receiving. He had 2 touchdowns in this game. And wide receiver Drew Jones added 84 yards on a reception. Wadsworth drops to 2-1 on the year. Medina does improve to 2-1 as well. One of the other games in the Suburban League National Conference is the Stowe Bulldogs. They lost to Massillon Jackson 34-0. Did not find a lot of info on that matchup. But I'm sure if you're a Stowe fan out there, you don't really want to remember this game. So we'll move on. Twinsburg and Copley was one of our SOT featured games. Noah was at, so he's going to get to that game real quick after I get done with our other featured game here in the Suburban League. And that pitted a GCC matchup against a Suburban League, Cleveland Heights and Hudson. Now, this was a great game for the most part, but early on, it was all Hudson, up 17-0 early. Hudson came out with a 59-yard touchdown run by Ian Ludwig. They had a block punt that was returned for a touchdown, and then a field goal. It was 17-0 at the end of the first. Marquise Davis, though, from Cleveland Heights, was a man amongst men in this game. In this game, he had a 60-yard touchdown, 11-yard touchdown reception, a 93-yard touchdown run, as well as a 11-yard touchdown run in the third quarter. It was 21-17 at the half. Cleveland Heights stormed back. One big problem in this game for the Hudson Explorers is Ian Ludwig went down with about 1:54 left in the second quarter. A minute 54 left in the second quarter. I saw the play. His ankle got rolled up on. He landed on it. He was down for quite a while, went into the locker room, looked like he was trying to tape it up before the half. He came back out in street clothes, so that kind of told you how it was. But hopefully it's just a bad sprain and not anything more than that. But you would think your star running back who's having a heck of a season, him going out, the team would kind of fall back and feel bad for themselves. So I'll give it up to Hudson. They did not in this one. Tegan O'Gwyn really filled in nicely for the Explorers, as well as, I forget his name, but he's another running back. He did a really good job. Tegan O'Gwyn actually scored a touchdown, a running touchdown, 11-yard touchdown with just over a minute left in this game. They hit the 2-point conversion. They needed to get a stop on defense. They did, but they weren't able to do anything as time expired. But one good thing about Cleveland Heights that I wanted to say, probably the playoff game or the play of the game, was in the fourth quarter. It was 4th down. They were going for it. Cleveland Heights quarterback Amar Lakes scrambled around. Defensive backs for Hudson kind of played the scramble. The wide receiver, Henry Paramount for Cleveland Heights, did a fly route, went right to the end zone, and Lakes found him. And that was a big-time score. That made the score 34-23 late in the fourth quarter. But like I mentioned, Tegan O'Quinn came back, scored that touchdown, 2-point conversion, made it close, but Hudson did not have enough as they fell short 34-31 against Cleveland Heights. Hudson improves to 2-1. Cleveland Heights also improves to 2-1. And the final game in the Suburban League National, Twinsburg and Copley. Noah was there live. Noah, what'd you say?
Well, thank you, Josh. And you had a great game there at Cleveland Heights versus Hudson. And now we'll start up with my game. I switched it up a little bit. Went from the Greater Cleveland Conference to the Suburban League this week as I saw the Twinsburg Tigers took on the Copley Indians. And Copley, on the very first play on the opening kickoff, Julian Bearsack took a kickoff return touchdown. That made it 6-0. But our Suburban League Player of the Week, Aiden Stuczynski, had a game of the night. He had 2 touchdowns in the first half. And then Joey Pollock to Jaden Dyke had a 35-yard touchdown. That made it 21-6. And then Aiden Stuczynski, he was not done yet. He had another rushing touchdown. That made it 3 touchdowns of the night. That made it 28-6. And then Joey Pollock with his second touchdown pass. This one was to Josh Collins for 11 yards out. And then Aiden Stuczynski, but not on offense, but on defense. He also had a pick 6 for a touchdown. That made it 42-6. going into halftime for the Twinsburg Tigers. And then one bright note for Twinsburg, Tyler Seagard, he made 2 field goals in the fourth quarter. One was from 33 yards, and the other one was from 41 yards. That is unbelievable. And that, as Twinsburg will go on to win 55-6. I want to run down some stats for Twinsburg. Finally, after 2 weeks, we couldn't get those stats. We finally got them, folks.
Yeah. And real quick, though, I do want to thank Coach Schulte for getting those over to us. Asked him a couple times, and he was very helpful, very courteous, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem, Josh. Joey Pollack finished the game. He was 14 of 15 for 157 yards and 2 touchdowns. And our Suburban League Player of the Week, Aiden Stuczynski, rushed for 123 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick 6. And wide receiver Austin Dye finished the game with 5 catches for 64 yards and a touchdown. One great thing for Copley, though, is that they had that opening kickoff return touchdown for Copley. That was Julian Bershak. And, guys, it was all Twinsburg tonight as they have a lot of momentum going in, winning 2 straight, going up against the Wadsworth Grizzlies. That should be a very interesting matchup.
Yeah, and thanks, Noah, for that. Twinsburg, back-to-back weeks scoring 55-plus points after only scoring 7 points against Aurora week 1. So good stuff out of them. We're going to look over to now week 4 coming up in the Suburban League National. We don't have that. Okay.
I think it's Sean.
We still have to talk about the American League.
Yeah, how about we go to our colleague, our cohort, our compadre?
There we go. My bad.
Sean Duffy to go through the Suburban League American Division for week 3.
Still in preseason form, sir. Sorry.
Well, thanks, guys. Happy to be part of tonight's show. Always a pleasure to be a guest here tonight on the show. I want to talk a little bit about the American League American Conference in the Suburban League. We start, as always, with Aurora finally getting back to their winning ways after a 35-7 victory over West Geauga. Greenman quarterback Brandon Lipens went 12 of 15 for 245 yards and 2 touchdowns, and also kicked in a rushing touchdown on the night. As again, Aurora improves to 2-1 with a 35-7 victory over West Geauga. Barberton welcomed in Erie's, Pennsylvania, McDowell. And what they got for their welcome wagon was, well, they got routed by Erie, Pennsylvania's McDowell, 52-20 in that game. Quarterback Dominic Wilson did have 2 touchdown passes on the night, but it just wasn't enough as those pesky Pennsylvanians come out and take out the Barberton Magics, who fall to 2-1 on the season. As we just talked about, Twinsburg came in and put a beating on Copley, 55-6, much like the Stowe. We're not going to go into what happened for Copley. Suffice to say, a game was played. They did not come out on the winning end of it. Moving on. Cuyahoga Falls gets their second win of the year after a 26-12 victory over Akron North. Cuyahoga Falls' Dominic Willig had 2 touchdowns on the night. One on the defensive side of the ball with an interception return for a touchdown, and one a receiving touchdown on the offensive side of the ball. Running back Xavier Lindsay also scored a touchdown in the contest. And again, as I mentioned, Cuyahoga Falls is victorious 26-12. Highland coach Mike Gibbons. Big congratulations to Highland coach Mike Gibbons, friend of show, kind of our buddy here, as he clinches, becomes the winningest head coach in Medina Bees history. I'm sorry, not Medina, in Highland Hornets history. As they get a 35-14 victory over the Brunswick Blue Devils in week 3. Running back Casey Miser for the Hornets had 19 carries, 179 yards, and a touchdown in the win. And big shout out to Karsten Noonan, who had 3.5 sacks in this game and 4 tackles for loss. On the defensive side of the ball, that's a night. That's a chocolate milk night for Mr. Karsten Noonan. But again, especially coming from the defensive line position, that is huge. Highland wins 35-14 over Brunswick. Noonan. And moving on, we have Lakewood traveling in to take on Kent Roosevelt. And guys, this was a very, very close game. For the second week in a row, the Rough Riders had to eke one out. This time they did it at home. Congratulations, the Rough Riders. They get a tough 10-7 victory over Lakewood. Ravenna traveled in to take on Revere, and in Revere, a bit of a surprising 2-1 on the season after a big 39-14 victory. Running back Zach Olakonowitz. Again, if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, I'm doing my best, but there's just a lot of letters in there, and I don't know how they all go together. I'm public school educated, folks. I don't know exactly how all this thing works, but Zach Olakonowitz had 2 rush touchdowns on the night. Quarterback Luke Ferris also 2 passing touchdowns and a rush touchdown on the night as the Minutemen improved to 2-1 on a 39-14 victory. Our final game, not so great for the Blue Devils of Talmadge as they get routed by Green 41-14. They fall to 1-2 on the season. Talmadge does. Green improves to 2-1. Guys, our player of the week nominee is our guest, Aiden. And again, help me with this last name again. Anybody? Stuczynski. I don't want to mispronounce that name because he is going to be on our airwaves here in a few minutes. But congratulations to him. He is our player of the week nominee. And you can still vote right now on who our player of the week nominee could be. It is a very close vote, but we will break that down later. Now, as Josh jumped the gun, let's look at what we have on tap for week 4 in the Suburban League National Conference. Josh, take it away.
Thanks, Sean. Hey, great effort. I wanted to say great effort on those name pronunciations. Yes. Yeah. Appreciate that. Yes, we're going into conference play. So North Royalton will take on Brecksville. Hudson will take on Stowe. Twinsburg versus Wadsworth, and Solon will play Nordonia. Kind of a look into the future for the Suburban National League in 2024.
That's right. And in the American Conference, we have Revere traveling in to take on Aurora. Interesting matchup there. Both those teams 2-1 for going into the season. Should be a good matchup there. Barberton will take on Talmadge. Barberton looking to rebound from a pretty ugly loss in week 3. Talmadge looking to right the ship there for them. Cuyahoga Falls, they're 2-1 against a Kent Roosevelt team that's also, I believe, 2-1, maybe 1-2. I'm not really sure on their record. And Highland will travel in to take on Copley. Guys, that's everything I have for the Suburban League. It's everything Josh and I have for the Suburban League.
Thank you.
We worked very hard. We're a tandem. We're a team. We're going to figure this out. If you could just remember to throw it to the American score before he talks about the next week.
I will.
I mean, listen, in his defense, we usually do, put up the schedule. He's used to the Greater Cleveland Conference and then the schedule. So it takes a little bit to get used to a little bit there.
Okay.
We'll give him the benefit of the doubt there.
Well, I guess I have no other choice then but to throw it to our technical director, our executive vice president, Mr. Fun Guy himself, Rob Trautman, so he could tell us what in the actual heck went on in the Southwestern Conference in week 3.
Well, is it
easy, Sean? Easy work right there.
Well, yeah, Professor Hype, as my compadre said, let's give you what's fit to print here in the Southwestern Conference. First, Amherst, they traveled to North Olmsted, and let's put it this way, Amherst impressive this year. They jumped out to a 14-0 lead in this one, thanks to a 10-yard run from Oliver Fakiti and quarterback Cole Norris. J.R. Byers also continued his tough running. He had 166 yards and a touchdown. He also was the SWC Ray Felton State Farm nominee for me as another great game. And at half the Comets, they were up 28-7 in this game. Amherst, they ran the ball in the second half, and it was mostly a running clock in that second half. The Comets, they would dominate this one 41-13. It's their first win away from home since September 11th of 2020 when they beat Berea Mid-Park 28-24. Amherst now 2-1 on the season. North Olmsted with a 0-3 record. Again, Amherst 41-13 winners. Amherst quarterback Cole Norris finished 129 yards passing and a touchdown. Also had 58 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. A lot of nominees for the player of the week. Very tough this week, but Amherst getting a 41-13 win. Avon Lake traveling to a tough place in Chardon. And it was Avon Lake junior quarterback Alex A. Falter. He started the scoring with a pass to wide receiver Carter Burke on an 86-yard catch and run. They tied the score at 7. Both defenses, they did really well in this game, and actually Avon Lake, they were in Chardon territory time in and time again, but penalties and mistakes really led them out with no points many times in this game. It was 21-10 at one point. The Shoreman defense, they made the Hilltoppers punt inside their own territory with a short field, though. The Shoreman drove all the way down inside the Chardon 5, but again, penalties, and the Hilltopper D forced a missed field goal and a missed opportunity. Chardon responded with a touchdown, and that was pretty much it in this one. Chardon wins big, 28-10. It was a close game, really, throughout. The Shoremen actually were right there for most of this game, and it was close into the fourth quarter. But again, Chardon with a 28-10 win at home. Avon Lake drops to 2-1. Chardon improves to 2-1 on the season. Strongsville traveling to Berea Mid-Park, and the Titans always tough at home, and they start off fast in this one, 15-0 right off the rip, as Devin Zahersky had a touchdown run of 3 yards. Wide receiver and BG commit Austin Clay. This guy had a game. He also was considered for a nominee. He had returning punts on this night. He had over 50 yards twice, one from 50 yards and 55 yards out, in which he actually scored. The Titans were up 21-0. And the Mustangs, they would get on the board before half. They cut the Berea Mid-Park lead to 21-7 at half. And then in the second half, it was all Titans. His quarterback, Danny Bowser, he scored 3 touchdowns. Austin Clay, he had 157 yards on 3 punt returns, caught 5 receptions for 102 yards. And, oh, yeah, he also had 2 interceptions in this game. So Austin Clay with a day. It was Berea Mid-Park 41, Strongsville 7. Berea Mid-Park improving to 1-2 on the season, and Strongsville falling to 1-2. Elyria versus Akron East. Not much went right for the Pioneers in this game, as Akron East started with Zaire Stevens' 15-yard touchdown run. Akron East would strike one more time before half. It was 14-0 at half, and not much really changed for Elyria in the second half, as Akron East improves to 3-0 as they win big, 35-0. Elyria falling to 0-3 on the season. Elyria Catholic traveling to Midview is a hard-fought battle between these two teams, as Midview quarterback Ethan Elbert, he would get in the scoring, started with a 12-yard touchdown run. Midview was up 7-0. Then in the second quarter, Elbert would connect with Dane West on a 60-yard pass. All of a sudden, it was 14-0 Middies, and the Middies special teams disrupted a few punts, which gave good field position to Midview, but it was sophomore running back Michael Passarello who would score on an 8-yard run and into the end zone to build a 21-0 lead just before half. Passarello on this game, 105 yards and a touchdown. Midview, they outrushed Elyria Catholic 164-84 in this game. And Midview, though, the one bright spot is they would get 13, or actually for Elyria Catholic, they would score 13 unanswered, but they still fell 21-13 in this game. Midview improves to 2-1. Elyria Catholic 0-3. North Ridgeville and North Royalton. Josh covered the North Royalton side. North Ridgeville, I'll give you their side of it, is they would turn the ball over 3 times in the first half in the red zone. All Ohioan Cody Miller to 30 yards in the second half.
Technology is a wonderful thing.
I know. Well, the live streaming feed, I was making sure it was still running as it threw up a message for me. So, okay, there we go.
Promotes them to EVP, and this is what happens.
Yep, I know. This is what happens when I can't pay attention. Cody Miller for North Royalton only had 30 yards in the second half, and it actually was pretty impressive by the North Ridgeville defense, as Shane Osborne forced a strip sack at the Bears' 30-yard line. Then the Rangers got close enough for kicker Austin DeShazo, who kicked a 23-yarder for the win. The junior also led the defense with 5 tackles and 3 assists at linebacker in this game. The Rangers, they win 20-17 on that 23-yard kick. They improved to 3-0 on the season, and North Royalton falls to 1-2. So again, 20-17, North Ridgeville there with the win. All right, let's head to Canfield, where Olmsted Falls traveled to Canfield, and I first want to thank @Rick E. Schultz on Twitter. That's SCHULTZ on Twitter. He gave us updates throughout this game and did a really great job in Canfield. Rick there.
Schultz?
I know. Give him a shout out there, man. He did a great job taking pictures and giving us some of the scoring updates. Is Olmsted, yeah, Olmsted Falls, they got out to a quick lead in this one, as it was 21-7 at half, and 6 running backs for the Bulldogs rushed for 197 yards. It was quarterback Jimmy Rossell, as he had 2 touchdowns through the air at 89 yards and 1 on the ground, including a 42 yards rushing for him. Running back Derek Necker for the Bulldogs, he had 73 yards and a touchdown, and he also had a pick 6 on defense. He's playing both ways for the Bulldogs. The Bulldogs, they took down the Cardinals in this one, 42-14. And great defense by Olmsted Falls, and the offense realistically was in full control. As give credit, the Bulldogs take down the Division III state champion Canfield Cardinals. Again, 42-14. Olmsted Falls 3-0 on the season. Canfield 1-2. The big game, Glenville traveling to Avon, and this was my Sports on Tap featured game for Week 3, and the atmosphere was crazy there. I mean, absolutely jam-packed, standing room only. It was youth night at Mark Wahlberg Chevrolet Stadium. In the house, there were college scouts all over the place. Browns cornerback Greg Newsome was there, amongst others. And Avon started pretty hot in this game. Quarterback Nolan Good, who will be on the show here shortly, to running back Jacorian Caffey. Then in the second quarter, Avon would strike one more time. It was Good to wide receiver Cole Kepner. Glenville, they would get a huge strike, though, right before half, as it was Riel Tomlinson to Jamari Townsend, and they would go for 2, and they did this all the time. It was Glenville going for 2, which they like to do, and they converted each time. It was 14-8 at half. This was a defensive battle, though. No scoring in the third quarter, which was surprising. Then in the fourth quarter, it was the Tarblooders striking. It was Tomlinson connecting to Ohio State commit Demarion Witten, and they went for 2 and got it. All of a sudden, Glenville took a 16-14 lead. Avon, they'd get stops and a big field goal by Owen Warwick for 27 yards out. And all of a sudden, I mean, talk about kicking in big moments. 17-16 Eagles. Avon would get another from Good to wide receiver Paul Leftrick. So they would score a touchdown there, and it would give them a 24-16 lead. Glenville had another chance, but the Eagles' defense would stop them, and Avon prevails in this one. 24-16. They stop Glenville's 17-game win streak. And in this one, again, 24-16, Avon improves to 3-0. Glenville 2-1. And my SWC Ray Felton State Farm Player of the Week nominee is Avon quarterback Nolan Good, who threw for 250 yards, passing 3 touchdowns, rushed for another 89 yards on the ground. And again, they snapped a 17-game win streak there by Glenville. So an impressive win there. All right.
No doubt, Rob. What do we got on tap? What's going on for Week 4 in the first week of conference play?
Well, we have Midview at Amherst, Avon at Elyria, Berea Mid-Park at Avon Lake, and North Ridgeville at Olmsted Falls. Some really great games there in the Southwestern Conference.
No doubt. And as we progress on through the season and we have, quite honestly, less games to cover, we'll be able to delve into the more of the conferences during the course of our recaps. But just based off of time, however, we are going to move on. Great job as always, Rob.
Appreciate it.
Let's go to Noah Jacobson for the Greater Cleveland Conference.
Well, thank you, Ed. And for the third straight week in a row, it's kind of been another up and down week in the Greater Cleveland Conference. We'll start off with the Highland Hornets taking on the Brunswick Blue Devils. Ethan Roxandis for Brunswick finished the game for 4 of 8 passing for 43 yards. And then he also had 10 carries for 80 yards. But the big thing that really stuck out to me for Brunswick is that Cooper Neal had a 92-yard kick return touchdown. But in the end, Highland was the better team. They had a better game plan and so on. And then moving forward to our next game, that Josh's game, Cleveland Heights took on the Hudson Explorers, and Josh had a pretty interesting game he covered. Cleveland Heights' running back, Marquis Savis, so far through 2 weeks, had 35 carries for 422 yards and 5 touchdowns. And then in this game, he had 37 carries for 333 yards and 4 touchdowns. as Cleveland Heights overcame a 17-0 deficit to win it 34-31 to improve to 2-1. And then our next game, the Euclid Panthers took on the Perry Panthers. Quarterback Robert King III finished the game with 13-22, passing for 146 yards, a touchdown, and he also did have an interception. Wide receiver Jamal Jefferson Jr. had 7 catches for 101 yards and a touchdown. But in the end, Perry had the better game plan, and they went on to win 42-6. And then the Wadsworth Grizzlies took on the Medina Bees. Danny Stoddard finished the game with 28 of 38 passes for 366 yards and 4 touchdowns. He also had 9 carries for 82 yards. And then my Greater Cleveland Conference Player of the Week, wide receiver Austin Knowles, had 6 catches for 173 yards and 4 touchdowns. Those were coming from Danny Stoddard, as him and Knowles had a great night. Wide receiver Jack Wolchak had 10 catches for 82 yards, and he also had a rushing touchdown, which gave Medina a 7-0 lead to open up the game. And Medina would go on to win 40-23. That is 5 straight wins against Wadsworth for the first time since 1942 for Medina. So congratulations to the Bees. And then moving forward, Riverside took on Menor. And guys, this was a pretty close game. It was back and forth. Scotty Fox finished the game. He was 15-37, passing for 219 yards and a touchdown. He also did stumble with 3 interceptions. He also ran the ball. He had 19 carries for 81 yards, and he did have 3 touchdowns. So pretty interesting running the ball from him. And then wide receiver Justin Hodge had 3 catches for 88 yards and a touchdown. But in the end, Riverside won the game 34-31. And then moving forward, Berea Mid Park took on Strongsville. And then, guys, this was kind of a no-brainer. We won't get into that. Quarterback Nolan Beard finished the game. He was 10-23 for 92 yards and a touchdown. And he also did have 4 interceptions. We won't get into that more. Wide receiver Logan Brown had 10 catches for 92 yards and a touchdown. That also came from Nolan Beard. But in the end, Berea Mid Park, one of those Southwestern Conference powerhouses, came in with a better game plan against Strongsville, and they went on to win 41-7. And then Shaker Heights took on the Solon Comets. Quarterback Abdullah Ahmed was 13-20 for 160 yards and 2 touchdowns, but he also did have 2 interceptions. And then my GCC Player of the Week from last week, Cornell Biller, continues to shine. He had 25 carries for 284 yards and 5 touchdowns. Boy, what a game for him. Quarterback Laura Kumuth for Solon finished the game. He was 14-29 for 173 yards and a touchdown. He also did have an interception. Wide receiver Josh Grafton had 3 catches for 76 yards. But in the end, Shaker Heights had the better game plan, and they would go on to win 53-27. And that is their first win against Solon since 2017, and their first 3-0 start since 2015. So congrats to the Red Raiders. And that is my recap for the Greater Cleveland Conference for Week 3.
Great work, Noah. What do we got? What's going on for Week 4, which would probably be the first week of conference play for most schools, with the exception of Solon and Shaker, who just had their conference play start last week.
Yep, this will be Solon's last year in going into the Greater Cleveland Conference, as they will be going into the Suburban League next year. The Cleveland Heights Tigers will take on the Brunswick Blue Devils, and then the Shaker Heights Red Raiders, who have been going off to a great start. They take on the Euclid Panthers, and then the Menor Cardinals, they host the Medina Bees, 2 teams that have won the Greater Cleveland Conference in the past few years. That should be a very interesting game. And then the Solon Comets will face the Nordonia Knights. A little preview probably of a Suburban League probably this year and going into next year. And then the Benedictine Bengals, they take on the Strongsville Mustangs. And that is the Greater Cleveland Conference Week 4 schedule.
Very good. Excellent work there as always, Noah. And we will, we'll talk more about these individual conferences as time progresses when we have less games. So let's get to it with the Great Lakes Conference. We have the first of we will start with the Eastern Division. And we have it was Ellett traveling to Buckeye. Ellett started out hot. They did get a touchdown, an early 2-point conversion. They forced a turnover, had a chance to go up 2 scores, but was unable to capitalize. A drop pass on 4th down in the end zone was really the death knell for Ellett, and they didn't know it at the time, but it sure was. Buckeye rips off 42 straight points to get the 42-8 victory. Casey Murray for Buckeye completed 5 of 9 passes for 169 yards and 3 touchdowns. Troy McCann rushed 17 times for 105 yards and a touchdown. Austin Heyer caught 2 passes for 89 yards and 2 touchdowns. Model of efficiency right there. And Gage Nagy had 3 sacks and a tackle for loss. Buckeye's defense has been stellar so far to start the season. Buckeye held Ellett to negative 50 yards rushing. Big credit goes to the Medina County Gazette for great coverage. The Medina County teams, as always, along the side with that here. So with that, Buckeye remains undefeated at 3-0. Ellett falls to 0-3.
Bye-bye the videos.
You picked a great time to start talking to me, Eddie. Good job. He's been sitting here on his tablet quiet for like the last
you gotta love it.
Yeah.
That a boy.
Impeccable timing.
He's heckling you from the side, and I love it.
He is. When you have, I'm not sure if it's hearing section or a heckle squad, one of the two. Moving on, Lindsley, West Virginia came into town to take on Holy Name. Lindsley doubles up Holy Name. They outclass the Green Wave. It's 42-21. Senior quarterback Andrew Cole completed 13 of 24 passes for 160 yards and a touchdown. He was picked off twice and rushed for a touchdown. Sophomore. Are you watching Shimmer and Shine right now? Oh, goodness. Okay.
You better shimmer and shine.
Yeah. Sophomore running back Xavier Rodriguez led Holy Name with 6 catches for 94 yards. Jovan Miles had a rushing touchdown. William Dix with a 20-yard touchdown pass. Holy Name still looking for their first win. Lindsley is 2-0. As Sean mentioned earlier, Kent Roosevelt gets a tough win. He just put on Shimmer and Shine right now, like as I'm going through this. Lakewood came into Kent Roosevelt looking to go 3-0. They come up just short here, as Sean mentioned earlier. Lakewood with the loss drops to 2-1. Roosevelt improves to 2-1. Let me move over here. There was a game played between Garrettsville, Garfield, and Normandy. 52-13 was the score there. Elijah Gray did score 2 touchdowns. He had a 2-yard score and a 34-yard score. Normandy has played a tough schedule. They've lost to a 3-0 Streetsboro team and a 3-0 Garrettsville Garfield's team. No, there is no rest for the Warrior for Normandy though. They dropped to 0-2. Garfield is 3-0. Valley Forge took on Garfield Heights. Valley Forge gets their first win, a 28-12 count there. Nick Mankin scored on a 2-yard touchdown run for the Patriots as part of his 19 carries for 94 yards and a touchdown. He also had 1 catch for a 7-yard touchdown. Ben Farson, 10 rushes, 99 yards and a touchdown. Danny Kewell completed 4 of 8 passes for 39 yards and a touchdown. Cam Wadsworth had another touchdown for Valley Forge as part of his 7 carries for 42 yards. Valley Forge moves to 1-2. Garfield Heights falls to 1-2. Let's shift over to the Western Division. And Bay Village took on University School. It was a tale of 2 halves. Bay took a 17-0 lead in the first half. Charlie Rogers rushed for a 1-yard touchdown, and then Michael Farrell found Charles Rice for a 6-yard touchdown. Casey Medley hit a 44-yarder for the Rockets and hit both of his extra points. That's all Bay was able to score. The second half was all University, and University scored. They scored the rushing touchdown in the last minute of the game, and University snatches victory from the jaws of defeat. A 21-17 victory over Bay. Bay drops to 2-1. University School improves to 1-2. Brookside took on Fairview, and Burke Lowry completed a 51-yard touchdown pass. Brendan Clark also had a 50-yard touchdown run for Fairview, but Brookside got up early, and they never looked back. Fairview just wasn't able to catch up. Fairview has played very competitive ball. Unfortunately, they've not been able to get on the winning side of the ledger. They've dropped to 0-3. Brookside is 2-1. As Rob mentioned earlier, Amherst took on North Olmsted. Lots of highlights for Amherst. Not a whole lot of highlights for North Olmsted, unfortunately. North Olmsted falls to 0-3. Amherst improves to 2-1. Sandusky Perkins took on Rocky River, and I think as Noah mentioned in one of his recaps, there is one guarantee in this game: the Pirates were going to win this game. There's zero question about that one. But Rocky River, they've held their own. They ran into a buzzsaw that we have seen is Sandusky Perkins, but they held their own for the first half or so. The game was tight. Rocky River was down 21-20 at one point. Perkins at that point just took off. They scored the next 31 points to take a 52-20 lead and trigger the running clock. Senior quarterback Julian Patty was good on 22 of 41 passes for 259 yards and a touchdown. Did have 2 interceptions. Senior running back Nick DeSalvo did what senior running back Nick DeSalvo does. He had 11 rushes for 173 yards and 3 touchdowns. Josh Maumers led the team with 9 total tackles. He had 6 solo tackles. It was not enough. Rocky River falls to Sandusky Perkins 59-28. Probably the game of the one of the games of the week here. Actually, we'll save that one. Let's get to Midview and Elyria Catholic, as Rob talked about earlier. Midview was staked a 21-0 head start by Elyria Catholic. Elyria Catholic did make it interesting in the second half with those 13 points that Rob mentioned before. Touchdowns by Connor Petrus from Hector Garcia. A rushing touchdown by Anthony D. Martinez brought the Panthers back. Just wasn't enough. Midview gets the 21-13 win over Elyria Catholic. Garcia completed 12 of 16 passes for 99 yards and a touchdown. He also rushed 10 times for 40 yards. D. Martinez rushed 14 times for 44 yards and a touchdown. And Jaden Ramos led the receivers. He had 4 catches for 55 yards and a touchdown. Elyria Catholic falls to 0-3. Midview improves to 2-1. Game of the week for this one came down to the wire. Westlake taking on Warrensville Heights. Westlake dominated the first half. They were up 29-12 behind 2 touchdown passes by Jared Gandeo to Cooper Rummel and Gino Woods. Matt Porcelli added a rushing touchdown. But Warrensville battled back. They took a 34-32 lead into the fourth quarter. The only points scored by Westlake in the second half were 2 field goals by Sean Evilsizer. He hit a field goal in the third quarter. Then late in the game, he connected from 50 yards out to give Westlake the lead. Warrensville Heights drove all the way down, and they were not able to convert. Cooper Rummel deflected the Tigers' pass to keep them out of the end zone. Westlake, after staking themselves a huge lead, loses a lead, comes back off the foot of Sean Evilsizer. They get the victory 35-34. Westlake moves to 3-0. Warrensville Heights drops to 0-3. The player of the week for the Great Lakes Conference, the nominee is Westlake kicker Sean Evilsizer. When you hit a 50-yard field goal to win a game, you get player of the week in my book, because I'm a former kicker and I have no problem being sporting nepotism about kickers at all.
Really, Ed, you're a kicker? I didn't know that. Wow.
First time anyone's ever thought about that. No, I try to keep things a secret on this show. I'm not very transparent about anything.
According to Joe Tate, he's a linebacker.
So Sean Evilsizer, congratulations. He's a Great Lakes Conference Player of the Week nominee, again, presented by Ray Felton State Farm Insurance. Let's get to the Week 4 slate. It's going to be all intra-division for the next few weeks. There's always going to be one outlier because there's only 5 teams in the Eastern Conference or Eastern Division. So Buckeye is going to take on North Olmsted. Normandy is going to travel to Westlake. Holy Name is going to go to Elyria Catholic. Valley Forge is going to go to Bay. Lakewood is going to go to Rocky River, and Lutheran East is going to travel to Fairview to take on the Warriors. So that's what we got for the Great Lakes Conference in Week 4. Again, great work on all the recaps there, and I look forward to next week with a lot less games to cover. We'll be able to discuss a little bit more about what's going on within our conferences with each of us that run that cover the conferences, because there's a lot to talk about.
Yep.
We just haven't had a whole lot of time to get to it based off of our schedule. Rob, what kind of time do we have for a quick run through? Are we able to knock that out real quick, or should we just kind of hang on for a little bit?
Yeah, I'd probably hang on because he actually is waiting right now.
Okay.
If we want to just jump right into him.
Yeah, we'll jump into it here again.
Okay.
I'll run through our sponsors real quick. Ray Felton State Farm Insurance, RRT Productions, GV Art and Design, and hand-built leather-made products, leather-made goods. Doesn't matter. Hand-built's what you need to remember. I'm sure Noah's got some sort of laptop bag there he can show off. Let's see. Yep, there it is. That looks fantastic. I seriously need to give me one of those. Mine keep ripping, and that's not good. Again, make sure you follow us on Twitter at SOT Podcast. I believe our Player of the Week's nominees are still active. Just to give a quick reminder of those nominees: Austin Knowles from Medina, our guest that's just about to join us, Nolan Good from Avon, Sean Evilsizer from Westlake, and our guest later, Aiden Stuczynski from Twinsburg. Lots of great games that happened this week. And we look forward to talking to Nolan and Aiden about not only their individual efforts, but their team and kind of what they got going on as well. So after we go through our interviews, we'll talk about the Player of the Week nominees. And we will actually, are we going to close that, or do you have to let it roll, Josh?
It's not going to end until just probably a little bit after our show ends tonight. So you can continue to vote till probably about 9:30, 10 o'clock. And then we will announce it on Twitter to who wins. It's very close, so get out there and vote.
Yeah, right now it's 34%. Sean Evilsizer of Westlake has the lead over Austin Knowles, who's at 32.7%. We have 1,254 votes in 1 hour left.
All right, well there you have it. If you want to push your favorite student athlete to the top there, you still have a little bit of time to vote. Again, make sure you follow us on Twitter at SOT Podcast, and then follow us again. Make sure you check back with us a little bit later tonight to find out who the winner of the $20 gift card to Chick-fil-A and the Ray Felton State Farm prize pack. Again, Ray Felton State Farm Insurance are the presenting sponsor of the Sports on Tap High School Football Show and the sponsor of the Player of the Week contest. All right, I believe we do have Avon quarterback Nolan Good up joining us here. We do see his name's popped up at least to see.
Yeah, looks like he's muted right now. Let's see. Oh, here he comes. There he is.
We got some audio. We are joined by Avon quarterback Nolan Good. He of the tremendous effort against the defending state champion Glenville Tarblooders. Welcome to the show, Nolan. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us. I mean, I know it's a short week for you. Well, by the time you join us, it's been we're really into the game planning aspect of the week now. We'll go back just very briefly about the Glenville game. I mean, just a great effort. You guys have had some really good battles against Glenville in the last few years. So, talk about the mindset going into that game and how you perceive that game to go.
So, coming into it, we knew that it was a big game, obviously, them having won a state championship the year before. And they definitely had some guys on their team that we knew if we couldn't shut them down, that it would be a lot more difficult to win that game. And I feel like as a whole team, but for sure the defense with the power that they have on their offense with some of their guys, like their running back, their quarterback, and tight end / receiver. Those guys who are known for making big plays, and I feel like our defense did a really nice job shutting them down, and it allowed our offense to get back on the field and get a chance to score more points. And I think it was just an all around a team effort.
Nolan, again, thank you for taking the time. I know it's a busy week. It's always a game week, right? But we talked to your head coach Mike Elder earlier in the summer as kind of the preview of what the season was, and he mentioned your name and the steps you've taken. I'm interested to see what's a couple of things that you worked on or you're still working on to better enhance your craft as a quarterback as not only coming into the season but as you progress throughout the season.
Yeah, so I was working with multiple different trainers, quarterback trainers over the off season on really just mechanics and reading defenses and just you know seeing what or they were trying to get me to see what I'm going to see on a Friday night, not trying to overcomplicate things, but just kind of slow the game down because it's already a hard enough position as it is. But they were trying to just help me out and with mechanics and really just seeing things.
Nolan, talk about last year the success that Sam DiTilio had was evident. We had him on our show last year talking about some of the great performances he and that Avon team last year had. Talk about it, if he's given you any advice since then, or talk about some of the coaches that have really helped you as you've gone into this season, preparing, to have another successful run.
Yeah, Sam is. I like to call him a friend of mine now. Since my freshman year, I've definitely built a bond with him. We still talk to this day. I was texting with him before the game, and he's really just a supporter for me now. Like he's done what he's done at Avon, and he taught me everything that I needed to know, and he really just he tells me that really anything I need to hear. Like he's just a supporter, and it definitely helps, coming from a guy who did the same thing that I'm trying to do.
Nolan, thank you for taking the time and joining us tonight. It feels like your guys' offense have been averaging 33 points per game, and it doesn't happen without a running back and a Cincinnati commit, Jacorian Caffrey, and it doesn't happen without a big offensive tackle and Michigan commit, Luke Hamilton. But just kind of talk about how the offensive line have been doing so far for these first 2 weeks and how the running game has been going so far.
Biased or not, I think I have the best offensive line in the conference for sure. But, even going into the state, I think their name should be up there and it should be mentioned. But having a guy like JC in the backfield, just with the amount of attention that he attracts, just with his skill and the things that he's able to do, it benefits not only me, but our receivers, our tight ends, anybody else. I feel like he's been able to take a step up in his game this year, where in years previous he's kind of been a guy where more of a hand him the ball and let him do his thing. But I feel like this year he's kind of more involved in the passing game, and he with him doing all the receiving and all the things he's doing now, I think when he runs out for a route or a flat route or anything, it takes so much attention and eyes on him and off of other guys, and it really allows our other guys to make plays.
Yeah, Nolan, what an atmosphere it was this last Friday versus Glenville. We talked after the game, and Coach Elder mentioned about your nerves, and you were saying that it's not that you're worried or scared to go into the game. It's just you're probably so amped up. I mean, like I said, the community coming. It was youth night. There were college scouts there. Some Browns players there. And you're only a junior right now. I think people forget you're only a junior and you're having such a great season. I thought you did a great job not only passing, but you knew when the pocket was collapsing to get out of the pocket and run the ball. Is that something that Coach Elder says, hey, if you feel that pocket collapsing, to get out and run it? And what do you prefer? I mean, do you like to pass more than obviously trying to run and get out in the open?
To start off, my coaches are constantly preaching to me to not forget that I have legs and that I can move and get out of the pocket and run. But we knew that they were a man coverage team, and so with all of our receivers are covered, it necessarily that means nobody's on me. So I was able to take advantage of that and get out of the pocket and get down the field with my legs. But when I was younger, and I didn't start playing quarterback till 6th grade, but I was more of kind of just like I didn't really understand the position. I would throw the ball every now and then, but I kind of just snap the ball, look around, and then run. And really, since my freshman year of high school, I've learned so much about the position and all that it takes. And everything that comes with being a quarterback. And so now I would definitely say that I enjoy trying to sit back there and pat the ball and try and find somebody downfield to throw to, which, sometimes I can get myself in trouble and forget that I have my legs and try to force something and, incomplete pass or, hopefully not an interception. But sometimes it's part of the game. Sometimes, that happens. But I was able to, fortunately make plays with my feet on last Friday. So, yeah, it's definitely nice being able to do both.
We're talking with Avon quarterback Nolan Good. A big win, a perfect non-conference slate against some very good competition. Now we get into what we always refer to as the meat grinder that is the Southwestern Conference. And I think you know this just as much as everyone else does. I mean, you look at any school that's in there, you got to throw the records out because any team can get you at any point in time. You're going up against Elyria this week. Now that we're 2 days into the game plan here, you don't, without giving too much away. I'm getting choked up over this.
It's all right. It's okay, buddy.
What he's trying to say is, without giving too much away, what have you seen going into this week's game? What have you seen that has impressed you so far?
They definitely do have some athletes on their team, and record aside, it's obviously they're not at where they want to be as a team. But when you play in a conference like the SWC conference, you can't take any team lightly. If you walk in there sleeping, you 100% will get humbled in a loss in your record column, and we definitely don't want that. So Coach Elder is constantly preaching to us day by day that we can't come in there sleepwalking, because if we do, we will unfortunately lose. And we feel that we should win this game, but obviously we have to stick with our game plan and trust our coaches, listen to our coaches, trust each other as teammates, and hopefully we'll get the outcome we need.
Very good. No pun intended. You have to get that all the time, right? I mean, that's, man, like if that's a kicker, it'd be fantastic. It'd be good kick in the scoreboards every time. I'm not. The only reason why I was a kicker is that my last name is Dick and it got to rhyme. That's the only reason. I'm joking about that, obviously, but but Nolan, we want to thank you for taking the time to join us during the middle of a game week. Coach Elder talked very highly about you in the pregame and in the preseason, and we look forward to seeing how the Eagles do the rest of the year, and hopefully we can get either you or some of your teammates on as the year progresses. Good luck this week against Elyria and the rest of the year.
Thank you again. Thank you for having me on.
Thanks. Appreciate your time. Good luck this week.
Thank you.
That is quarterback for Avon, Nolan Good, as he leads the Eagles to Elyria to take on the Pioneers. The records aren't exactly where Elyria wants them to be, as we know. But as he mentioned, and as we all know, the records kind of get thrown out in this conference because any team can get you at any moment in time. So you have to set your game up. If you play your C game, any team can play their A game and can get an upset. So I thought
it was very interesting that how he kind of was humbled, being a quarterback from sixth grade, knowing when he got to high school there was a lot more to the position than just running around and throwing the ball. That was pretty interesting to hear.
And that's a level of humility that is exactly kind of what that's kind of what you expect from someone that plays in the Avon program too, no less. But we can certainly get into that more as time rolls on. We are joined by our next guest. Had a major game here against Copley. We are joined by Aiden Stuczynski from the Twinsburg Tigers. Aiden, thanks for taking the time to join us tonight. How you doing?
Oh, you're on mute, buddy.
Damn, that mute button always gets you.
It's me all the time.
We do that at least once or twice a show, at least.
I think the mute button might be the equivalent of the turf monster when you're running for a touchdown, and the turf monster just comes up and grabs you out of nowhere.
I've had that happen a bunch of times. Not the turf
if you look in the lower left of it's usually the lower left. Just has a microphone. It might have a.
While Aiden's working through that, let's just talk about the type of game he had. He had 4 total touchdowns,
Yeah.
3 rushing touchdowns. He had a pick 6. Certainly put in a chocolate milk type of game there.
Yep.
To get his way there. So there you go. I think Aiden's
All right.
audio. There we
go.
go.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Aiden, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
We're
doing great.
Well. Thanks for taking the time to join us.
Of course, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Very well deserved. What a great game you had. What a great game not only you, but the Tigers had against Copley this week. I know you're getting into game week here this week, and we'll talk about that. But quickly talk about the Copley game. A tremendous individual effort by you, and obviously I know teammates had something to do with that as well. So I'll talk about your effort, and how your teammates helped you out in that big win against Copley.
Yeah, definitely felt great to be out there, get a big win like that. All week in practice, we knew it was a winnable game, but we had to be in our A game in practice. The last couple of years especially, we've had some really good games with Copley. 2 years ago, I know we went into overtime actually. Got through that one, got the win in that one. And last year we hit a game winner basically as time expired to win it. So, we really brought it in practice. And I think it definitely showed out there, obviously, with our performance and a big win like that.
Aiden, again, very, very, very impressive game Friday night. I know we had Coach Salter on the program in the preseason. He mentioned you were one of the many names he mentioned of the guys coming back and really buying into this program. And a question that I want to ask a player, is what's one of the differences you've seen now that we're in the second year with Coach Salter and between year 1 and year 2? Is it easier to kind of understand things? Are you guys seeing a little bit more success, or what are some of the changes or the progress that you've seen as a player?
Yeah, definitely. First year getting to know Coach Salter, obviously, as a new coach, a lot of stuff to learn with whole new system, all that good stuff. Still learning what he's like, but going into the second year, we had a lot of juniors start last year, so it's a really similar team this year, and we all are a lot more comfortable with the system, and we knew most of the plays and obviously we knew all the plays going in, but more comfortable with them, how they work. And it was great to start practice instead of having to learn everything else, just a quick review of everything else, and then we could really get into the intricacies of the game and put some fun plays in, some new plays in, and mix it up a little bit. So it's definitely good to have him back for a second year and get more comfortable with his system, and I'm sure it'll be like that in years to come too.
Yeah, and kind of add on to what Sean was asking. If you're looking at this season kind of microscopically, week 1 you only scored 7 points against Aurora, but then the last 2 weeks you guys have blown up on the offensive end, scoring 58 against North, and then last week 55. So just talked about some of the things that have clicked on offense for you guys. Maybe it could be the defense leading to the offense, but what's clicked for you these last 2 games that has led to such a great output?
Yeah, I mean, obviously against Aurora, 7 points isn't what you want to put up, but our defense played a great game. Let up 0 points in the first half, and they had a pick 6, brought it back pretty far, so they had a pretty easy one there. But our defense played really good, and I feel like in practice we use that to our advantage. The scout team on defense is really bringing it, and they brought it especially after that to challenge our offense more. And I feel like just the energy from the defense is just transitioned over to the offense, and just getting more familiar as the season goes on and just starting to perform how we should.
Aiden, thank you again for taking the time and joining us. And when I talked to you Friday night, it felt like it just wasn't yourself with those 3 rushing touchdowns. It was your offensive line, and it felt like they dominated all game in that. To just kind of talk about how the offensive line has been coming together through these first 3 weeks of the season. As last week and this week, you guys have put up 50 points. Just kind of talk about how good they have been performing so far.
Oh, yeah. Our O-line, I love those guys. A lot of them are seniors in my grade, so, I've been playing with them since middle school, and even some of them before then in, 5th, 6th grade, right? So, I don't know. We have some really good chemistry, I feel like, me and my line. We kind of have this feeling like they play for me, I'll play for them. They know if they make opportunities, I'm definitely going to be the one to take them. And they've been playing lights out. I have no complaints. The holes are there. Everything's developing well, and we got time to pass. And so you can't really ask for more out of that offensive line. They're playing their butts off.
Yeah, and how much fun are you guys having? Because your offense is really clicking. You guys are off to a fast start. Coach Salters was really excited, I know, before the season, and he was really excited for you guys. And I think once you get into a system, obviously, like you talked about, you get more comfortable. You can dive in a little bit deeper into the offense. How much fun are you and your teammates having? Is this, something that you're enjoying the season, you're enjoying the offensive game plan, and I'm sure it's going to trickle down from the younger guys too that are in the program right now.
Yeah, this is one of the most fun I've had ever in a season so far. To put up that many points, to be able to run plays and get yards at will whenever you want to get yards, right? It's really fun to go out there and just run the plays that you practice so hard to perfect, and then have them actually work and see the way they develop. And you mentioned the young guys. It's really nice too in the last couple of games with such big leads going in the second half. I know last week and even this week, I barely even played going into the second half. We were able to get some of our younger guys in there and get them some experience. So when it is their time, they're able to step up and perform.
And that's probably kind of nice to get a little bit of a breather after, scoring so many touchdowns and putting up big yardage and stuff like that, just to have a little break. But it's good to get the younger guys in and get them some experience for sure.
Yeah.
We're talking with Twinsburg running back Aiden Stuczynski, the Suburban League Player of the Week nominee for the Ray Felton State Farm Insurance Player of the Week poll. You go from Copley, an American Conference foe, back into conference play. It's going to be your last away game for quite a while, but it's a big one. It's against Wadsworth. We're quite familiar with Wadsworth here. I know you guys are as well. Without giving too much away, what are some of the keys that you're looking for to solve the Grizzlies?
Especially on the defensive side, on offense they have some playmakers and they're putting up points, and we're working out how to deal with that, and it's going along pretty well. We're making adjustments as needed. Their quarterback's pretty dangerous, we've noticed. Their running back can run the ball. They got receivers. They have playmakers. But our defense, like I said, we've been playing really great, so I'm not too worried about that. We should be able to handle that pretty well. And then on offense, obviously we see some things that we like, but we have our playbook, and it's been working really well. So we're making a little adjustments here and there to cater to their defense and what we can get on them. But yeah, it's nothing. I don't know. I just think we're ready. We've been preparing, and we all know what we're doing. So,
Aiden, and again, one question I wanted to ask, and I'm sure Josh always says this a lot, and if you guys were ever in the state championship game, would you rather make the game-winning pick six for a touchdown, or would you rather make the game-rushing touchdown for you guys to win the state championship?
That's a tough one. I just think with the nature of pick sixes and how they're much more rare, I feel like, than rushing touchdowns, it is just electric when you get one of those, and it's such a good feeling to be able to make a play like that. It's so rare and so game-changing. So I think I want to take the pick six on that one.
All right, I have an addendum to that because I don't think that's where Noah was going to go. Because either way, you're scoring a touchdown. But I do agree with you. A pick six is quite exciting. So instead of scoring a pick six, you make the game-winning tackle on the 1 yard line to stop them from scoring. Would you rather do that or score a rushing touchdown to win the state championship?
I don't know. That's
no
pressure.
Welcome to grilling with it.
Oh man.
A rushing touchdown. I don't know. It depends what kind of hit we're talking. If we're talking like blow them up, helmet come off, I might have to take that.
I take. You know what, Aiden? I'd take that in week 4. And, nothing on the line but just winning that game. You blow someone up and you knock their helmet off. That's a highlight reel for the rest of your life. If you don't play another down of football, that's one of the best highlights you'll ever have because you just point to be like, I did that, and that's it.
Now just ask Jadeveon Clowney.
Yeah, really.
I made a career on it.
Correct. Very good. Aiden, thanks for taking the time to join us tonight. Great job last week and so far this season. We're looking forward to seeing what you guys can do against the Grizzlies this week and see how the rest of the season progresses. And hopefully we'll be able to either get back with you or some of your teammates over the course of the season as you guys move on. So good luck this week and good luck this year.
Awesome. Thanks for talking to me, guys.
Thanks for coming on. Appreciate it.
Have a good one.
That is Twinsburg running back Aiden Stuczynski. He is the Ray Felton State Farm Insurance Player of the Week nominee for the Suburban League. As we mentioned, those polls are still open for a little bit longer. Make sure you check us out at SOT Podcast on our Twitter. You still have a chance to vote for Austin Knowles from Medina, Nolan Good from Avon, Sean Evil Sizer from Westlake, and our most previous guest, Aiden Stuczynski from Twinsburg. So
and Ed, it's gotten a little bit closer. I mean, we're 1%. Westlake has the lead by 33.9 over 32.9, 1,260 votes. 1 hour remains.
I gotta say, if by some chance Aiden and Nolan don't happen to be on the top for the Player of the Week poll, they are going to be tops for having the best hair of any of the guys on this show tonight for sure.
Oh, you know what? In person too, man. When I had him after the game, it was crazy. You know, it was all wet and everything, so you couldn't see it, you know, like that. But I'll tell you what, it was very impressive. That's for sure.
No doubt, no doubt. The hair that we have seen so far this year has been. It's like we're going back to the hair metal days of the '80s, and even though they probably don't know any of those bands. But nonetheless,
I'll just say, enjoy it now, fellas. Enjoy it while you can.
No doubt. My wife cut my hair the other day, and she left it long on purpose up top because she did the normal cut. You definitely be able to tell that it's thinning. So, hence my eraser head hair that I have now. That looks fantastic. Thanks, dear.
It's impressive, Ed. If she did that, that's impressive. I'll give her that.
Yeah, she's a fantastic cosmetologist in her day. Still is. She just stepped away from it for reasons. So make sure you're following us on Twitter.
Yep.
Check out the Player of the Week nominees for the Ray Felton State Farm Insurance Player of the Week nominees there. And again, of course, make sure you're also checking out our website, Sports on Tap Podcast. Hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel, Sports on Tap. Get the notifications when we are when we are going live, like we are tonight. And then again, make sure you follow us on Facebook. You're going to have all the information about where we're going to be, what the scores are, what our standings are, and the like. And so, speaking of that, let's get to it. Where are we going to? Goodness gracious!
Hey, this is your boy coming to you from Professor Hype.
All right, hold on a sec. Hype alert! All right, Sean, the floor is yours. Please, you have the next minute to talk about whatever you want to talk about.
We'd like to thank everyone for watching. Thank you.
I was sitting beachside Friday night thinking, you know what, guys? I really want to pipe in and see what's going on with high school football in Northeast Ohio. Now, granted, I'm on a desert island here. I have very little opportunities, but you know what I was able to do?
You mean desert island?
Well, listen, there was dessert and desert. We were all there. We know that. That's fine. Let's move on. But you know what I was able to do? I was able to walk my fingers to youtube.com. Because I have hit the subscribe button, because I have smashed said notifications bell, I was able to get updates and videos directly to my little phone computer on the beach with my toes in the sand, as Zach Brown Band once said, and I was able to follow the best coverage of Northeast Ohio high school football in the state, in the country. I defy anybody to do better than Sports on Tap. I was able to see Josh's videos from Hudson and Cleveland Heights. I was able to see Noah's videos from Copley and Twinsburg. I was even able to see Rob's videos, which I'm never able to see because I don't like Rob. But that's neither here nor there. I love Rob. He's a great guy. But not only that, when I couldn't get the video because, again, with the sun and the wind and the rain and all that, sometimes you get a little bit. I was able to follow on X. I was able to follow at SOT Podcast. While I was sitting there, I even looked on hand-built leather and thought maybe I needed a leather pouch to carry on all my great things that I got. My Chick-fil-A gift card that was given to us by Ray Felton. I was wearing my GV Artwork T-shirt that said Cleveland Rocks, and I was even able to book one of my events to be shot by the one and only RRG Productions. Guys,
boom!
It's a one-stop shop for everything you need. I don't know what more to tell you, but I want to kick it back to the boys right now, so that way you guys can know when we're going to be in week 4.
That's just
Sayonara,
crazy.
I'm going to get me a Mai Tai. Peace!
That is our own
That's impressive,
Professor
man.
Hype.
Wow.
Doing what Professor Hype does.
Just wow.
I can't believe. I mean, dude, that guy, he has a private jet and he just flies just like that. You know, and all of a sudden he's on a beach. Impressive.
I mean, that's okay. And now we're back. Let's. There's nowhere else to go besides where are we going to be at next week, gentlemen?
Anywhere but here, I'll tell you.
Conference play starts, so let's go around the horn and see where we're going.
All right, I'll give it a start. I'm going to stay in the Suburban League, the National Conference. I'll be heading to Brecksville as the North Royalton Bears will take on the Brecksville
Bees.
I was going to say, Sean's probably still on the beach. He can't hear
or
you.
out of breath. But yes, I'm looking forward to heading to Brecksville as the Bears take on the Bees.
Very good.
I myself will be traveling to Rocky River to see the Lakewood Rangers take on the Rocky River Pirates. Sneaky good 2-1 matchup this week in the Great Lakes Conference. Very interested to see both these teams had tough losses. One to Sandusky Perkins and one a close one to Kent Roosevelt. See which one of these teams can bounce back and get a win and to open up conference play.
Well, this week, guys, I am back in the Greater Cleveland Conference after taking a week off. I will be heading to Brunswick, where the Brunswick Blue Devils will host the mighty Cleveland Heights Tigers. This should be a very interesting game. Marquise Davis has just been unstoppable through these first 3 weeks for Cleveland Heights. And we'll see if Brunswick can get off this time with their first win against a very good team. And the series note between these two teams, the series dates back to 1994. Cleveland Heights has won 3 of the last 4 games, but Brunswick leads the all-time series 6-3, and we'll see high drama stakes as we begin conference play in the Greater Cleveland Conference. Let's go.
Nice. You didn't have off, though, last week, I didn't think. I am going to head up the road in Avon Lake, where the Shoremen host the Berea Mid-Park Titans. The Titans got on their winning ways last week versus Strongsville, where Avon Lake played a tough Chardon team, so they're looking to get back in the win column. But a great overall matchup there where I think we're going to have defense against offense. Both teams can put up some points, so let's see what happens in the Southwestern Conference with Avon Lake and Berea Mid-Park there.
There you have it. We have total coverage here of all the conferences that we cover. It's going to be a tremendous Friday coming up here. So make sure, again, you're following us on Twitter /X at SOT Podcast to get all the updates for all 4 of the games. And make sure you're following us. Make sure you check out sportsontapodcast.com afterwards to get the recaps of the highlights of our games as well. You're going to see each of the schedules popping up on the website here soon. Maybe some standings, and then all the results on Friday night or Saturday morning. And of course, as we lead into next week for the week 4 Player of the Week contest for the Ray Felton State Farm Player of the Week contest there. Next week, we will also debut the Power 10, which admittedly is not very easy because a lot of teams have wins that a lot of teams have 3 or 2 wins out of the teams that we cover. More teams have 3 and 2 wins than have 0 or 1. And I like to reward winners. It's going to be a tough one. So I'm hoping we'll see how things. Now the teams are going to start playing each other within the conferences. Some of those wins are going to turn into losses just because of how it's going to roll. But very strong non-conference performance through all of our conferences this year so far. And now as we enter conference play, I expect some parity, and some of that stuff's going to kind of play itself out. But the initial one's going to be rough. I'm not going to lie. But we'll see how it goes. So again, we'll be back at it again next Monday. Next Monday we'll be back at our home Make sure we will be here live on our YouTube channel at 7:30 p.m. at Sports on Tap. Again, on Threads at SOT_podcast, Facebook at Sports on Tap, Twitter at SOT Podcast, of course, our website, sportsontappodcast.com. Any sort of stats, pronunciations, or anything else you want to talk about, make sure you send us an email at sportsontappodcast@gmail.com. Stay tuned to get a word from all of our sponsors. This is the Sports on Tap High School Football Show, brought to you by Ray Felton State Farm Insurance. Make sure you check out the Twitter poll in about an hour to get the official winner of the Ray Felton State Farm Insurance Player of the Week contest. There is still time to vote. Try to push your favorite student athlete over the top. It's been a very competitive vote so far. That's finished strong. For Rob Troutman, Noah Jacobson, Josh Jeffy, and Professor Hype himself, Sean Duffy, my name is Ed Dick. You're watching Sports on Tap. We will see you on the other side.
Sports on Tap's high school football coverage. 7:30 p.m. Watch live on YouTube and make sure to subscribe. Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is presented by Raymond Felton State Farm.
With the auto insurance market constantly changing, call a professional that will put your needs first. Ray Felton State Farm is a team of licensed professionals that will assess your risk, explain coverage in detail, and assure you understand what would happen if you ever found yourself in a claim situation. You can visit rayfelton.com or call their office at 234-284-2996 for a free quote on your home, auto, renters, and life insurance needs.
Whether you're hosting a corporate event, wedding, conference, concert, or any other special gathering, our comprehensive range of services will exceed your expectations and elevate your event to new heights. RRT Productions. We shoot, we edit, you win. Visit our website at www.rrt-productions.com.
Hand-and-built leather goods. Leather goods built for life. Made by hand in the USA, all goods are made with veg-tanned leather. Some of the best quality around and made by a U.S. veteran. Check out their website, www.handbuiltleather.com. GV Art and Design is a creative boutique specializing in original artwork, design, and apparel. With 4 locations in Lakewood, Avon, Willoughby, and Kent, you can visit their store and check out their collections including Cleveland sports teams, Ohio colleges, and much more. Use the code ONTAP10 for 10% off your order. GV Art and Design, original and one of a kind.